What's up, everybody? Thralls here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick, and I have yet another album review for you. Decided to do one extra just because I saw this band pop up as a new release, and it was like, holy shit, is this band still around? Because, man, they haven't been around in a while. Or at least that's what I thought, since they hadn't put out a full length in about 10 years. So today we're going to go over the first album in 10 years from Man Must Die. The Pain Behind It All. This also comes out on the 17th of February on Distortion Group Music. This band formed in 2002 in Scotland, which definitely seems to be a theme with the new Hell Ripper release too. Yeah, way to go, Scotland. This is their 5th album overall, and again, their first full length in 10 years. Their last one, Peace Was Never an Option, was a pretty fucking solid banger. Now, they did put out an EP in 2019 called Gagging Order, and I didn't even know it came out. And, I mean, even to be fair, 2019 was kind of a while ago, too. So this band has been kind of inactive for a while, though they have not been listed as, broken up or on hiatus or anything like that. They just haven't put out anything in a while. Now, I've been a fan of these guys for a while. Actually, I've been a fan since their second album, but it was No Tolerance for Imperfection that I really latched onto, especially the song Kill It, Skin It, Wear It, which was the most brutal song about how much they hate fucking people that wear fur. I honestly pretty much dig all their stuff. Stylistically, I would say this band is technical death metal or like modern death metal. It's technical, but it's very riffy, like along the lines of bands like Decapitated, Psychroptic, and even like Revocation to a degree, though not as like, lead happy and virtuoso-esque as Revocation, but that same sort of tight syncopation, blazing fast riffs, loads of blast beats. That is very much what Man Must Die is about for the most part in here. Once you get past the intro OCD, which is 30 seconds of noise that does admittedly kind of lead into the next track pretty well, Patterns and the Chaos, it does just kind of feel like, like a little snippet of a Fear Factory sample or something like that. But once you get into Patterns and the Chaos, this album just fucking explodes. Blast beats, tight syncopation, very quick, thrashy riffs. They are just blazing fast and coming at you as aggressively as they possibly can, coupled with vocals that, I don't know if they're necessarily like straight death metal vocals. There's a big hardcore tinge to it, especially when you get a lot of like repeated hardcore refrains, especially in the last track in here, Who Goes There? But musically, man, this album flexes some serious fucking muscles right away, and again, very riff-oriented. This isn't just a series of noodles and quick turnovers and just, like transition after transition. This band likes to lay on riffs, play them at ferocious speed, and then lay on some fucking just brutal breakdowns. And I think when this band is at their most brutal, they are possibly at their best. When they are just kind of just locking in on just the most beefy, fucking, just mean, aggressive songs. They just sound so tight, so just vicious and straight to the point. Click Hate and Bring Me the Head of the King, both of these songs are just insanely fast. Click Hate opens up with just nasty turnovers, vicious riffs, and both Click Hate and Bring Me the Head of the King both kind of lay into some kind of grindy moments. Like there's some kind of napalm death-ish, like kind of grindcore moments peppered in the more technical modern death metal on here. And some of that comes from the vocals too. There are like, I would say, kind of chanted, groaned cleans. Like they're definitely kind of washed out in effects, but there's like a tuneful groan to him. It's not unlike a lot of the stuff that Barney does now, like he has those big bellowing kind of groans. I guess they're kind of cleans. I mean, they're clean for Barney. They're not clean for anyone else, but they have those which add a bit of atmosphere, like the main chorus on the title track, which is just a groovy monster of a fucking chug-a-thon, and I love the syncopated fucking groove to the entire song, and some solid fucking melodies in there too, but it has this sort of chanted refrain on the chorus, and it adds just a touch of atmosphere, because a lot of the atmosphere here is just sort of like little pockets of melody, or like a little bit of, synth here and there. Most of the time, this is just fucking flying at a fast pace and just delivering riff after riff. But back to that grindy side, because Bring Me the Head of the King is yet another one that I think is just steeped in aggression. There are gravity blasts right away, and flat out like D-beat fucking driven like napalm death riffs. But it's interesting how they employ like breakdowns in there, because they kind of break down that main grindcore riff and add like a cool little like double bass syncopation. It's almost like, Fear Factory and Napalm Death kind of got together on this one and, Fear Factory just got to pepper in the breakdown for a bit because, you know, I mean, Fear Factory is pretty fucking good at breakdowns. But this song is just steeped in aggression, but it has a cool little surprise at the end with some really clever melodies. And melody on here is actually pretty prominent and used pretty effectively. One of my personal favorites on here is In the Hour Before Your Death, which I believe was released as the second single on here. And holy shit, this kind of sounds like a Carcass song. Like, it opens up with like guitar interplay and melodic lead work and tremolos that would not sound out of place on Surgical Steel, actually. The song has great syncopated gallops on it, and it's all done with like a nice melodic flair, but the melody doesn't get in the way of the brutality. Like, this is still a brutally fucking heavy song. It just has enough melody in there to actually kind of generate a nice melodic hook. And just in case you think it's getting too melodic, it fucking throws in a nasty fucking breakdown at the end, which, I mean, there are some sick fucking breakdowns all over this album. And War Is My Will actually kind of goes like almost like Swedish melodic death metal. That has like a fierce melodic death metal sound to it. Like, there's more atmospheric ascending tremolos. It feels more triumphant overall. There's some thrashiness to it. It's almost like a combination of Hypocrisy and fucking Revocation together, which sounds like a pretty cool tour package. I'd be fucking down for that. And again, just in case you think it's getting too melodic, it peppers in what is almost a fucking slam breakdown there and just delivers this massive fucking heavy break in between all these triumphant moments. Now, while I'd say the lead work isn't on par with, say, like Revocation, because I've brought them up a lot, very few bands are kind of on par with that level of lead work, but it's really well used. Like, it's not overdone to the point where it becomes overtly melodic all the time. It's peppered in there for like a little bit, doesn't hang out too long, but it definitely adds something to the songs. And melody is used in different ways on here too. The last track, Who Goes There /IFF, it might be a reference to the novel that inspired The Thing. I don't know, but some of the lyrics, I don't know, they seem kind of close. I don't know, maybe. I don't know, I love The Thing, so any reference to The Thing is more than welcome. But this song has good melodic hooks, but they're more thrash-oriented. Like, actually, it kind of reminds me a lot of like The Haunted or something like that. Coupled with those slightly more hardcore vocals, it kind of has like the feel of like, say, like The Haunted Made Me Do It or One Kill Wonder. Like, it's just muscular, it's angry, it's fucking in your face. There's a good fucking breakdown in it, because there's a good fucking breakdown in, I think, just about all these songs. But again, the melodies and hooks are a little bit different in the song. And that kind of curtails into some issues I have with this album, which are, it does have a centralized sound, but this feels like it hit the sampler platter quite a bit. Like, there's a lot of stuff in here that I would say at its core reminds me a lot of 90s and 2000s death metal, like mostly like late 90s and kind of early to mid 2000s, especially bands like Decapitated and Psychroptic, because the tight syncopation and again that more modern polished production. This still has like a bit of grit to it, but it is pretty fucking polished on here. Not saying that's a bad thing, but that is an observation. But this album kind of like pulls from like a lot of different camps again: grindcore, mellow death, thrash metal, and one I kind of haven't brought up yet, and that is metalcore. The song Enabler is probably my least favorite on here, and honestly I have kind of issues with the two longer tracks, which is Enabler and War Is My Will. Both of them kind of tend to wander off the reservation maybe a little bit too far, like targeting, you know, different sounds and subgenres that maybe really wouldn't fit that well. The main culprit is Enabler. This song kind of just sounds like a mid-2000s metalcore song. Leads in with like, you know, the kind of stereotypical like gothic pianos that you hear at the beginning of tons of metalcore songs and tons of melodeath songs from the mid-2000s. There's a spoken word part, and lyrically it's maybe a little cheesy, but it kind of just leads into this, you know, riffy but kind of dull song. Like, it's supposed to be anthemic. It's supposed to be like the big empowering groovy, just, you know, everyone's headbanging and fist pumping, and it's just kind of there. And kind of there for maybe too long, because it's almost 6 minutes long. Now, both War Is My Will and Enabler go for those big triumphant riffs, but the triumphant riffs on Enabler just feel, I don't know, kind of cheesy, kind of out of place. Like, that's like a forced chorus melodic moment. It doesn't quite land. War Is My Will, it's blended in a little bit more, and again, it's more like classic melodeath. Like, you can still hear touches of like In Flames in there and like At the Gates. But with Enabler, I was getting like, again, like more All That Remains and like kind of that later era where they kind of turned like arena metalcore. The song still has like its riffier moments that are more along the lines of tech death and modern death metal, but this song just did not land for me. And again, this whole like kind of pulling from different influences. Like, sure, there's plenty of stuff on here that I would say is flat out tech death / modern death, but again, there's a lot of stuff that's kind of all over. And when it works, it does work really well. Like, namely, In the Hour Before Your Death and Who Goes There, I think are particularly strong songs. And the peppering in of grind every now and then kind of adds like a different level of intensity, but I feel like there's a lot of searching going on here, and with other albums, at least their previous albums, they felt a little bit more uniform. But this one kind of likes to wander a little bit. But overall, I dig this. Like, I think this is a pretty decent album. Like, it's a lot of fun. The riffs are fucking tight. And for a 10-year hiatus, I'd say they came back pretty strong. Like, maybe not quite on par with, like, their last couple albums, because I thought their last couple albums were really sick, but this is still really good. So overall, I'm going to give this 3.5 stars. This is a pretty solid return to form. I actually want to check out that 2019 EP now. This is packed to the rim with fucking all different kinds of riffs. As I said, it's kind of a sampler buffet, but they're done, for the most part, really well. I love the fact that this album is brutal, it's tight, but it's also very catchy, and the melodies on here, for the most part, are very effective. That little touch of carcass worship that is in The Hour Before Your Death is absolutely infectious. The thrashy moments at the end and Who Goes There, like, there's really fucking awesome songs on here. There's really awesome songs in here, and for the most part, this album doesn't waste any time getting to the point. Like, it's there to fucking draw you in immediately and get the blood pumping. Yeah, there were a couple songs I had some issues with, like namely Enabler. I just feel like that song doesn't necessarily belong there. It feels really out of place, but pretty much everything else I thought was pretty damn solid, and I'm eager to already hear more from these guys. Like, it's just awesome having them back. It's one of those, like, you didn't realize you missed them until you realized that they were gone, but you didn't realize that until they dropped an album. So yeah, I don't know if there was a realizing they were gone. I just kind of forgot about them. I feel fucking bad now. I was really a big fan of this band, and I still am now. I'm just being reminded of that. So yeah, if you're a fan of bands like Decapitated, Necrotic, Revocation, I would even say Napalm Death and Fear Factory in there, check this out. This is a fucking really solid release, and welcome back, Man Must Die. So if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you'd like to help us out there is a link down below to thrallsmetal.com. Our store is there. We are working on restocking and figuring out a different system for sending out shirts, because it's a lot of fucking work. But we do want to get some new merch out there. We just got to find the time to do it. But anyway, what we do have available is at our store, as well as our Patreon link. Also, Denver Death Fest will be taking place April 20th through April 22nd in Denver, Colorado, because that is where it is. There's only so many ways I can make this joke, and I think I've made that joke like fucking 800 times now, and it probably has landed with less success each time I do it. But anyway, tickets are still available. The link is down below. We probably by now have made the final announcement. We still do have some open spots, so I'm not entirely sure if another band could just fucking jump on. You know, I'm not really in charge of all that. I'm mostly just doing the day-to-day stuff here, but it is a possibility. But if not, we have a full fucking lineup now, and we hope to see you guys there, because it should be a damn good time, because it's a fucking death fest. We'll be there, the bands will be there, metal, drinking, talking about metal. All these things sound like fun to a giant metal dork like me. So hopefully this sounds fun to all the fellow metal dorks out there. I know you're out there, I'm not the only one. Anyway, we hope to see you there, and of course, thank you so much for liking, subscribing, following, all that jazz. It is absolutely amazing me doing this. The thank you part of the video, where I think I'm going to say something different, but I never fucking do. It's mostly just variations in the same thing, but it's honest every time. I fucking mean it. It is great doing this. It is great getting the responses we get. Love talking to you guys. Love meeting you at the shows, like all that shit. It's just fucking fun doing this, and we're going to keep doing more. We are eventually going to get around to that Crowbar ranking. I believe we have the 4th of March pegged as a date to record it, so that is happening soon, and at the end of that, we will announce all the other bands that we're going to do as voted by our patrons. So yeah, plenty of stuff coming in the future on the channel, and of course, one more big thank you, because this is that part of the video, and we We'll catch you later.